Today I will be reviewing the Evolution R185CCX multi-material cutting track saw. I'm kind of excited to finally get my hands on this saw because I've been looking to purchase a track saw for quite some time now, but the main factor why I haven't has been because of the cost. It seems like anytime somebody takes a circular saw, they put a track with it, they want to triple the price. That's not the case with this Evolution track saw. Not only does it pack some pretty nice features like being able to cut wood and steel, it also comes with a track. And at the filming of this video, you can pick one of these up on the Evolution online store for less than $150. Evolution has also set up a discount code for Making Stuff viewers so that you can save even more money on any purchase you make at the Evolution online store. And I also want to point out one thing. Evolution did send me this saw, but they did not pay me for this review. This review is 100% my honest opinion of the saw. So let's head on over to the workbench and take a closer look at it. This is the saw I'm going to be reviewing today. It is the Evolution R185CCSX. It is a multi-material cutting circular saw that comes with a 3-foot 4-inch track. So let's open this box up and see what all we get. So first out of the box are 3 sections of little guide track. Next is the 7.5-inch multi-material cutting blade. You can see this one cuts mild steel, aluminum, wood, and plastic. And then next is the saw itself. And then finally we've got an edge guide, some dust collection adapters, an extra washer for installing the blade, an Allen key, and of course the manual. So let's take a closer look at the saw. As you can see right here, I have already installed the multi-material cutting blade, and that was quite easy because tucked away right here on the back is the hex key that you need to change that blade, and it hides right there and it's out of your way. But this saw does appear to be made quite well. It's really good quality. The base here, the bottom of this, and the top of the blade guard, all of that is made out of some type of cast material. There's a few little plastic pieces on here, such as these little adjustment knobs, and I believe the handle is also plastic. But another nice feature about this saw is that the handle has a rubber grip on it, so it's real easy to get a good grip on the saw. Now, another thing that I like about this saw is that it comes with a pretty long cord. This cord measures in at about 13 feet. And then if we zoom in on the label right here on the saw, you can see that it is rated at 15 amps at 3,700 RPMs, and it is a 7.25 inch circular saw. And the cutting angle on this saw can be adjusted all the way up to 45 degrees. And I do want to point out before I start cutting metal with this saw that I am going to be using this face shield because I know from past experience using carbide tooth circular saw blades to cut metal, they can produce some pretty nasty projectiles. Don't you hate it when you go to cut a 2x4 and there's a couple of nails hiding in there that you didn't see? Or how about a couple of drywall screws? Let's see how well that multi-material blade works on this. You cut right through it with no problem. How about some 14 gauge sheet metal? Some 1/8 inch thick aluminum angle. And it made a nice clean cut on that aluminum angle. Let's try something else. How about some 1-inch square tube? It went right through this 1-inch square tube with no issues at all. So now let's try some 2-inch thick wall square tube. And it cut right through that 2-inch thick wall square tube, no problem. How about some Schedule 40 PVC pipe? There are a few little chips right here. That's where the blade broke through on the back side, but all in all, it did a pretty good job on that PVC. How about some metal electrical conduit? Not bad, it did a pretty good job on that electrical conduit. So this saw has done a pretty good job so far. Now let's take a look at that track system that comes with it. So these are the 3 pieces of track that come with the saw, and they are very easy to join together. On the back, there's these bars that slide out. And as you can see, there's a little set screw. There's 2, or actually 4 on each bar. And then you just join these together like so. And then use the provided Allen key to tighten these set screws down. And then that will hold the 2 pieces together. And if you assemble all 3 pieces together, you will be left with a piece of track that is 3 feet 4 inches long. So I know a lot of you guys are saying right now, 3 feet 4 inches, that's really not a whole lot. I can't even cut a sheet of plywood with that. And you're right. So Evolution sells the ST1400 track extension. Now this will extend your track another 4 feet 7 inches. So let's take a closer look at what comes in that track extension kit. You do get 2 27.5-inch pieces of track, and they join together in the same manner as those other tracks with these bars and the set screws. You also get 2 clamps, and these clamps conveniently slide in the same groove on the back as these bars. So it's real easy to clamp down your track to your workpiece. It just slides in there. And you also get a handy dandy carrying case to put it all in. So let's try out a couple of pieces of track that actually come with the saw. Here I've got 2 of those pieces joined together, and I've got it clamped to a little piece of scrap plywood that's about 3/4 of an inch thick. So that cut a nice clean straight line, and yes, that is the same blade that I've been using to cut steel and aluminum and plastic, and it looks like it's still holding up and doing a great job on this plywood. So I've got all 3 pieces of track that came with the saw joined together, and I've got that clamped down to this 16 gauge piece of roofing metal. Let's see how well it cuts it. So it did a pretty good job of cutting this 16 gauge roofing tin, and this isn't tin, this is actually some type of steel. It's some old school stuff, and it's good and solid. Next, I've got a material that's been giving me a challenge for years on the best way to cut it. This is some 1/2 inch expanded metal, and it is very challenging to cut. The only really good way I've found to cut it is with a shear. I don't have a shear, so let's try this saw instead and see just how well it will cut some 1/2 inch expanded metal. Okay, so it did cut the expanded metal, and it did cut it in a nice straight line, as you can see, but it also bent the metal. I guess that spinning blade in this thin metal here just isn't a good combination. So I would say that the track saw is not a good candidate for cutting expanded metal. Okay, so I just noticed something, and that is when I unclamped the track and removed it, the edge here on this piece of metal is a clean cut. And that's because that track held this side of the metal down, and these little fingers, I guess you call them, weren't able to bend up. So I guess it is possible to cut expanded metal with the saw as long as the piece you want to keep is on the clamped side of the track. So next I'm going to try some 1/8 inch thick steel diamond plate. And it cut right through this 1/8 inch thick steel diamond plate with no issues. Okay, so every good track saw should have some good dust collection as well. And up until now, I have not used any dust collection, and most of the sawdust has been coming out of the side of the saw right here. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, I showed you this little piece of plastic. Well, this is so you can hook your shop vac up to it, and it screws onto the saw right here like so. And it also has this adapter that goes on the end, so it should be really easy to hook up any size of shop vac to this saw for some good dust collection. Okay, so it did a pretty good job of picking up the sawdust. This is all that made it on the floor, and you can see where I have accidentally stepped in the little bit of sawdust that hit the floor. But yeah, it's not a lot compared to what would be on the floor if I didn't have the dust collector on. So I want to do one final last cut with this saw, and up until now I have been using the track that came with the saw. Well, this is a 4-foot piece of plywood, so I have switched over to the track extension kit that is sold separately, and I want to see how well this will cut this 4-foot wide piece of plywood, because I've been using the same saw blade this entire video. So all the metal, the plastic, aluminum, everything I've cut has all been on one saw blade. So I want to make this long cut right here, and let's see how well the saw blade has held up. All right, so there we go. It cut that thing nice and straight and sharp. So that saw blade has held up quite well to all of the abuse that we've been putting it through. I'm really impressed with how this track saw has performed. The multi-material blade has been able to cut everything that I've thrown at it so far. Some of this stuff would even make me cringe if I even thought about cutting it with my regular circular saw. And you really can't beat the price. It's less than $150. And remember, if you go to the Evolution online store and use the discount code Making Stuff, you'll get an additional 5% off of your purchase. I'll put links to everything down in the description of the video. So if you had one of these saws, what type of material would you cut with it? I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments below. I really hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me that big thumbs up. That lets me know what types of videos you guys want to watch. And if you aren't a subscriber, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that bell so you don't miss any upcoming Making Stuff videos. And thanks for watching.